Yes. What's going on, people? Boy, back again. A big weekend of boxing. Looking forward to the show. As you can see, back again, myself, Kojo, here with my main man, Sam. And we're also joined by a guest panelist today, big man like Zanes, who represents Zanes Heavy Boxing Dosage. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Glad to be joined by you lot. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I really love it, man. So yeah, glad to be joined by you lot. How are you lot doing?
Doing good, bro. I mean, boy, busy weekend in boxing. I think we're going to continue with the show. There won't be no quitting today, but no place to start. I mean, yeah, really enjoyed the fights this weekend. For those of you that are tuned in, don't forget, we always ask you to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all platforms as best you can. We really do appreciate that. But I think for me, guys, I think there's only one place to start really, and that is with the fight of the weekend, the clash that was heavily anticipated. The man they call Juggernaut Joyce taking on Daniel Dubois. Guys, I mean, Sam, in fact, Zane, I want to start with you, just in terms of tell me what was your thoughts on the fight?
To be honest, all credit due to Joyce, because a lot of people going into that fight, they really ripped Joyce off. They thought that Daniel Dubois would overwhelm him. They thought that Daniel Dubois would be too strong and he wouldn't be able to handle the power. But full credit to Joyce, because like a lot of people, including myself, didn't see that coming. But yeah, what was your thoughts on it, guys?
Sam?
Boy, I was in two minds. I think at the start, I think from last week's show, I kind of was on the fence a bit anyway, that because it was a 50-50 fight. When we have fights of this magnitude, domestic fights of this magnitude, you're always in two minds, especially because these guys are both respected and great elite athletes in their own right. Just from his kind of Olympic pedigree, his age, his maturity, how calm he is. Dubois with the kind of disruptive, explosive kind of no new friends, not trying to make friends in the industry. So it really made everything for a great fight. And ultimately, I thought if it's early, I think Dubois would challenge and really upset and hurt Joyce's power. But ultimately, I felt in the later rounds, it was going to favor Joyce, and which is what it is, because Dubois never been in those kind of waters with someone like him before. So as it was going on, it would favor him. And the jab around the world there, man, because he's on his way to world level, bro. Like, big up for him. It's a really big year for him. Big up to S-Jam and Sam Jones. It's a really, really big year for those guys next year. Really kind of disruptive, especially the team kind of left with the other smaller promoters, kind of gone to Eddie Hearn / DAZN. So, yeah, but I was kind of really upset. The only thing that really left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth was the way people clowned Dubois, because they're saying he quit. Very subjective. To me, ultimately, I don't feel he quit. But we're going to get into that later. But ultimately, it was a great fight and really puts British boxing there for world level. Shout out to Alan Lamb. But yeah, bro.
Yeah, big up Alan Lamb. Appreciate you calling in. Look forward to hearing your opinion. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, though. I mean, I've got to say, I thought the fight was a really good fight. I think we really anticipated sort of a knockout. We didn't get that in probably the spectacular fashion we would have hoped. Personally, I did not think that he quit. As you can see that Alan Lamb saying, I didn't think he quit. If his eye was damaged, then only if you're in the situation you will know. I think it's exactly. My opinion was, yes, Joyce looked great with the jab. He was consistent with it. Dubois, he had zero head movement, which is always going to be a problem. But I just think if you're fighting with one eye, what else are you supposed to do? And I do believe that he was fighting through the pain for the rounds coming up to it. So by the time that one jab was able to sort of touch Dubois, I think the pain was enough. And I liken it to, if I'm punching you in the same spot on your arm 1,000 times, continuously, and then a little girl comes and just even flicks it, or I flick, that pain is going to be intensified because of the numbness of the area. So for me, I just think people saying he quit, I think it's a cheap shot. Maybe it's the karma, because I do want to ask you guys this question. In the lead up to the fight, the first press conference, Dubois was rude about Joyce's mum. I think there's no other way to say it.
Yeah, no, completely unacceptable.
So there's a bit of maybe karma, poetic justice. Do you think that? I mean, what were your thoughts on Joyce's comments to Joyce's mum? I mean, Dubois' comments to Joyce's mum.
To be honest, like I think it was a bit too personal, isn't it? I mean, there's a line you don't cross, isn't it? When it comes to family, that's what that's who you back 100%. You get me? But like that's the thing about it. So he's a bit too disrespectful in that respect. But you know what? At the same time, you got to see it as Joe Joyce point of view. When he's taking it to family, then it turns personal, and I think that fire fueled him for that victory as well.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I agree with that. You shouldn't be saying those kind of things at all. I mean, look, people that have notoriously said things. Remember, who was it that said something? Look at Derek Chisora when Dylan White said he was going to come and get people to attack his family. He flipped the table over. Look at Amir Khan against Phil LaGreco. The time he was talking about Anthony Joshua and his wife and the tweets and all that stuff. And what happened? He threw water in his face. It's Joyce is a cool, calm guy. And he just kind of let his action do the talking. And I think Dubois was a man kind of coming out with his tweet yesterday and said he'll come back stronger. And, thanks for the well wishes. But look, it was like I even said last week. Joyce had much more to lose than Dubois. If Dubois lost, he learns, he grows, he gets respect for stepping up. If Joyce loses, where does he really go from here? Because Dubois not really ready. Like I even put up even the clip I posted up today. I was just thinking about when Don Charles was kind of predicting all of this would happen. Because February was in the studio and they were supposed to fight earlier on, and he just said, "Look, Dubois was just too zealous. He's a very talented guy, but he could have actually gone on the Olympics and done his thing and built his experience." But now we're at a stage now where he's got this injury, and not that it could have been avoided, but in my head, I just think the way everything was and how the aftermath of it didn't really do Dubois justice, because all these casuals are now jumping on this wave like, oh yeah, he got effed up. That's one of my guys called me today and was like, yeah, you see your boy Dubois? He's dead. He's a hype job. I said, if you watch that fight and you look back at it and you see the tweets before in that iron before that injury, that was a 50-50 fight. That was a chess match. That was a chess match that Joyce was just getting the edge on because he was doing that dodgy jab, that dodgy fake jab, that up, down, that awkward style, bro. It was unbelievable the way he did it. Casuals might not like it, but us as pure boxing fans, that is technical boxing at its finest. But yeah, pretty much just enough.
Bro, I've got an interesting question to ask you lot as well. Yeah, like obviously, like that injury, it could have been a life-threatening injury, isn't it? Like he could never possibly box again. Yeah, but now that people know his weaknesses and his vulnerability, will that kind of exploit him a bit more, or will he improve from this experience?
Good question. I would say just giving a big up for Alan Lamb. If I'm being honest, bro, I think the fundamental flaws he kind of showed is probably going to be more, maybe not more of an issue, but it's going to be a big issue. I think there was zero head movement. When you talk about a fight, in terms of maybe being on the defensive, when he was being pushed back, he didn't really stand his ground in terms of just keeping his jab out or maybe just doing side to side lateral movement, just to keep himself out of the range of the jab. So I think it's more the fundamentals that the elite fighters, are really going to look at him and think, yeah, is he beatable? Clearly he is. Another point I want to say to you, and this goes back to sort of like the Frank Bruno era, is the whole muscle thing. I'm not dismissing one thing, but surely they have to look at the fact that he carries a lot of weight and a lot of that's going to be muscle. And in high level boxing, a muscle bound body doesn't really do much. You talk about your red blood cells, lack of oxygen. Joshua, remember when he lost to Ruiz? Frank Bruno's another one. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think Dubois should be looking at with his team that he needs to fix moving forward in his career?
That's a good one. Still, I think personally, he just needs to watch what he did wrong in terms of he needs to improve his head movement. I think he needs to become a bit more fluid and say, we know he can punch, we know he can bang, we know he can get people out there when he needs to. He just needs to be able to kind of get heat from someone. It'd be interesting to know who he's sparring was leading up to this. for this fight, and also just his stamina. Really, I mean, we saw the best Joshua, and Joshua complained. Everyone complained about Joshua being too big and muscle bound and everything. Look at the way he was trim and moving around against Ruiz too. Ultimately, that I wasn't impressed by the performance as such. I was more impressed about how his kind of cardiovascular system was able to kind of work during the 12 rounds, just being able to move like Klitschko-esque. I think Dubois needs to kind of not adopt that style, but he needs to get comfortable with moving around and doing his thing and just being able to do that. The fitness, the kind of slimming down of the weight and just feeling where he's at weights, and just kind of, I think he needs tactical spot. He needs a real good, strong team around him. Not that I don't think he had it before, but I felt, not if I'm being overly critical, because we don't know what goes on between the coach and the trainer, but I just feel that the advice that was being given, there was nothing said about how we should tuck up and just keep that left hand up at all times.
Yeah.
That would have been said. That was just like jab and move, hit and move. When you see the opening, there was none of that. I'm not even a coach, but I'm just saying, I just feel like that should have been done, as in, because he was just standing there just trying to take him out, really trying to take him out. And I thought he was hurting him, but ultimately your eye was screwed. So you got half a vision, you got half a body, man. You got half a brain with your eye not working. So how you going to do that? But yeah, ultimately, look, VsJoyce, I'm not taking anything away from that. You are a G for that. You are a G.
Yeah. I mean, on that, and it's a question, Zane, I want to ask you. Previous comment was talking about Dubois showed he's not ready for Usyk. But you think Joyce has shown that he's ready for Usyk now?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. You know what? Yeah, it goes back to VsJoyce's team as well. You know, I think they did a lot of things to implement how this game plan was gonna go. But like, bro, like, I can't really say yes or no to that question because I don't know myself. Because like what we saw in that last performance is VsJoyce, he's got that Olympic pedigree for a reason. Do you get me? And he's a good technical boxer, man, and he pulled it out the bag. Like a lot of people criticized his defense before the fight, and now that we saw him in this fight, we can see how much of a good boxer he is. You know, when he steps up to the plate. But at the same time, Usyk is a completely different boxer to Daniel Dubois. You know, I believe they fought in the amateurs.
Yes.
Is it the amateurs?
That's right. Yeah, the World Boxing Series. Yeah, and Usyk got the win.
Yeah, so you know, there's a bit of history going in there, but you know, you can't write off VsJoyce's team, man, because we've seen what happened, you know, already. And like, it's a 50-50 fight. Because Usyk, at the same time, at heavyweight, you know, he's not the biggest of punchers, you know.
Exactly. He hasn't shown the most at the moment. I mean, Sam, what's your thoughts on the whole Usyk talk at the moment?
Makes sense. Tactical move. You know, he beat Derek. They had VsJoyce and Derek had a spat back in the day when Hay was kind of managing both of them. That was so funny, by the way. Derek was so funny when he said about the toe of that.
An extra watch, right? He said, "He give me a watch, or give me 50 grand." I remember he price tag for that fight.
Yeah, then he started cussing him out about his hair. Then next minute, they're managing each other. Wild. Anyway.
That's a clear example of this crazy sport of boxing.
Yeah, no, exactly. But sorry, back to your question though. It does make a lot of sense. Joyce hasn't got much time on his hands in terms of he's got a 4 to 5 year window max.
Yeah,
max. That's at a stretch, hoping that he doesn't get battered. But yeah, I think, you know, if I was him, I'd either go for the Usyk. No, I'll go for the Dillian White, Ruizes. I'll just go for those guys because I know I'm technical enough to handle you. I know what I've got. I'm just kind of waiting for the time. I'm 2 men at the top, so for either one to vacate and get my way in to do that, or you know. And I think that's what Sam Jones is doing. I think that's what Eddie Hearn's trying to plot. They're just trying to get him to fight the outside guys, the outside elite level guys, outside that golden ticket fight. Don't even be surprised if VsJoyce has it out with Wilder. You know.
I think that's too much of a risk for Wilder, if I'm being honest, man.
Yeah, but don't be surprised. Wilder, we all know Wilder's deluded because he turned down DAZN money to fight Fury.
Yeah. I don't know about deluded, but let's stick to the script. Let's not He's not moved the
Yeah,
goal.
no, I hear that.
Before we go, I mean, look, before we move on to the next one, I mean, look, that's Dubois' eye. This is the moment that he took the knee. For anybody that really believes he quit, I mean, look at that. What fighter is supposed to fight? A young man at the age of 22, probably going through immense pain. Who, if we really expect him to continue, then I think you need to start watching, not even UFC, just go and watch some murder games, because at the end of the day, like, he's always going to be able to come back and fight another day. He's going to be able to learn. And I think continued punishment on this eye that we're looking at would have surely not just ruined his career, maybe really had a big impact on his life, if it hasn't already. So yeah, that's a big one on that. I do want to talk about, let's say, outside of the ring with those two fighters, the managers / promoters. It's got a bit exciting or gone a bit tasty. We've got your Sam Jones, you got Frank Warren, and Eddie Hearn's now throwing his name into the mix, even though he didn't promote this fight. I mean, looking at it, do you think Sam Jones is doing the best thing for Joyce by taking him to demanding the Usyk fight next? And do you think you see him staying at Frank Warren for a while now?
Well, that's a good question, bro. You know what? Yeah, I feel that, leading up towards the Dubois versus Joyce fight, I feel that Frank Warren was favoring Dubois to win that fight heavily.
Yeah.
And I watched his post-fight review. He seemed like he wanted Dubois to win.
He did, didn't he?
Honestly. And I feel that Sam Jones didn't get enough credit for what he did. A lot of people were doubting him. Especially Frank Warren. And I feel that they know that as well. So I don't know if he's gonna stay with Frank Warren. I mean, their relationship already isn't really that great, but I don't know. You get me? Yeah. I can talk on what I can see. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I see. But Joyce, I don't know if he'll fight Usyk next. I'm not sure, but I feel that he will definitely down the line.
Yeah. And in terms of Eddie Hearn, I mean, he came out of a comment recently, and I think I wish I had, because I think this was one thing I wanted to talk about. And for those that are watching online, you'll see Macklin came out with a comment, and Denzel Bentley responded. He said, well done to Joyce. Walked about anything Dubois hit him with. There's no nice way to say this, but Dubois quit, got hit with a clean jab on the damaged eye and sat it out. He's young, but if you've got the quit in you, then it's always going to be a doubt over him. Again, Tony Bellew came out with a similar tweet. I just think this, as professionals, I just think these guys are going way overboard. And you know what I do want to ask you guys? Like, Wilder recently had the fight against Fury, said he wanted to die in the ring, and everybody's applauding his team, saying they've done the right thing, throwing in the towel. Well, if you ask me, probably two different injuries, Dubois just couldn't carry on. I mean, what do you think about these professionals being overcritical of him?
Disappointing. Fucking disappointing, man. If I'm being honest with you. It's because it's like, you say the sport is getting to more people, which brings more money to you guys and all that. But when you're saying things like that, that's so barbaric and putting a bad name on sport. Because if it's all fun and games, it's all he quit until his eyes damaged, until he's a coma, until he's in a serious coma. Like, remember what happened to his name that fought Chris Eubank over the Blackwell. Look what happened to him. No one cares about him. Look, he was Anthony Ogogo, bro. He even gave Joyce a bit of a backhand kind of well done type of. It was kind of, I didn't really like the way he said it. I can't even remember the tweet, but it was quite. I didn't really like the sound of that. But I just think it's wrong. Adam Smith said, look, I think it's so wrong that people are saying he quit. Look, the guys, I wasn't, let's not forget, this is the same Matthew Mack that praised Mark Heffron for being a warrior. Denzel Bentley was just jabbing that same eye. That's why he said keep the same energy. Between those two injuries, none.
Exactly, yeah. And guys, one last other thing I just want to say before we move on from that fight. Hamza Shearers, he had a fight, went 12 rounds. But I don't know. I know a lot of people were critical that he didn't get his opponent out there. Okay, he eventually got him out there, but it was late. But I think personally, Hamza Shearer really boxed well. I think if you look at his weight class, he needs to get experience. He needs to get rounds. And you could see that it was all about learning. He was setting traps. It was a very much, I don't want to say a training session, but it was very much like that. What are you saying? I'll come to you. What do you think of that Hamza Shearer's performance?
To be honest, like I like the performance, you know. To be honest, like overall, the performance was out of 10. I'd give it an 8. You know, and I feel like Hamza could have got him out of there a bit earlier, but at the same time, you gotta accept the fact that this guy comes with experience, you know, and that experience against the likes of Jack Holkai, who's a good, not a world level sort of 154, but he's definitely up there, you know. So with that being said, he had more experience over Hamza. He had more fights. He was there to survive basically, and he was doing a good job of it, to be honest, because Hamza was tagging him quite well early on. And I just feel like it's another box ticked off Hamza's sort of, you know, he's been 10 rounds at early age of 21. And overall, he's got the stoppage, and that's what that matters, you know. And yeah, I think he's a great fighter. There's not a lot of fighters that are dedicated like Hamza in the sport. And what stands out about Hamza to me is just like he's getting better every single fight. You know, if you look at the Paul Keane fight, I mean, he just obliterated him. And you know, in this fight, he stepped up with another step up in competition. You're gonna have bad and good days, you know, but overall, we should be happy. You know, we should look at the weaknesses he showed maybe, and then you know, rectify them in the next fight. You know, but yeah, what did you look for?
Sam?
Like we know Hamza well here. Shout out to him, came to our studio. I should have there's gonna be a few clips coming up about him, but like I said, when I met him and I met his people and his team, he's such a humble guy. He's very confident. He's got that quiet confidence about him. He's got the huge Asian Muslim community behind him. This guy, to me, this guy has got star written all over. That's when I first said that. He's in such a good division. And he's tall, he's not your typical kind of build for that weight class. He's gonna cause people a lot of problems. And that performance there, as David A said, it's a case of that put me off there. It's a case of it's just a case of him learning and going through everything. He knows he didn't have the best amateur pedigree, but he knows he's learning. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to his strength and conditioning coach, a guy called Coach Assi, who I've come across and trained quite a lot of athletes. He's been getting Hamza to be this strong guy and how he's explosive and how he's slick and how he's able to move. So, yes, onwards and upwards for Hamza Shiraz out here. For me personally, I would love to see in 2021 Shiraz versus Cheeseman.
Yeah. I think that's a big shout. I mean, guys, moving on before we go to the callers. We're gonna go to the callers soon. Just want to talk about this man here, Danny Jacobs, who won a, let's be pretty honest, boring fight against Gabe Rosado, and maybe he didn't win. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't watch it in full. I caught the highlights, but it was a low punch output. Rosado actually came into the fight slightly more impressive. You know, he showed a bit of a different game plan. You could see that he'd been working with Freddie Roach, and they'd almost got it down to a T, apart from them not getting the victory. Danny Jacobs, though, looked really lackluster. I mean, you even saw Errol Spence comment on it himself. What do you guys think Danny Jacobs should do next? Who should he fight next?
With Danny Jacobs, you know, that fight wasn't a great performance, I'll be honest with you, and it was a debatable, you know, sort of draw. You know, I thought it was a draw. I thought of it. That's the way I scored it. But yeah, it wasn't one of his best performances at all, and he looked very vulnerable in there, you know. Yeah, where does he go from here, though? I'm not too sure, bro. Because like, there's opponents such like Billy Joe Saunders, maybe Charlo, you know, but there's not a lot of great options for him in terms of winning fights. Like, he looked a bit vulnerable in there to me.
Sam?
Look, I think that performance, I'm happy he got the W. Both men went home to their families and both men was okay. Rosado was never going to be. He was looking for a payday. Look, guy's not a journeyman, but borderline. I think he's just took over, really. Billy Joe's fighting the guy he fought and just about. It was a quite close fight with Martin Murray. But if I'm Billy Joe, I'm looking at this. He'll probably said, Eddie, look, I want the Jacobs fight now. I fancy getting another name on my record without having to do that much work and be challenged, because we all know Billy Joe likes that. And you can move on from there. But if I'm Jacobs, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm happy about that, because now I'm going to get the fight. The fight will get easier made. Eddie will push it, and then they can cause an upset, and he's right back in the mix again. Yeah. Jacobs, I don't know what happened to him. Maybe it's the too much money being given from the zone, put it up in the Rolls Royce and everything. Do you not see that when he was for his Rolls Royce and all that? But you didn't give a Rolls Royce performance, bro. Yeah. I love it. You didn't give a Rolls Royce performance. But look, I'm looking forward to the other fights. I want to hear what the fans are saying. I'm looking forward to this weekend with Spence Garcia. Just really.
So now let's go out to the lines. Going to go out to the first caller, 597. 597. The floor is yours. Hello.
Joe, it's John from the Boxing Voice. How are you?
Yes. How you doing, John? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Great show. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much for calling in. What's on your mind? What's your thoughts and opinions?
Yeah, I thought we'd maybe talk about the Dubois Joyce fight first. I don't know what you guys thought, but firstly, what I'd say is I had lots of friends, casual fans and family that are casual fans that don't normally watch boxing that much. Mm-hmm. Everybody was tuning in. So, I think the 5 week showed it was a big fight. The fight itself, I felt Joyce deserved to win the fight. On my own scorecard, I had Dubois 1 ahead by the time of the stoppage. I think you have to give full credit to Joyce, because Dubois landed some big shots on him, and the guy's like a cement bag. He just didn't move. He didn't get cut, he didn't get rocked. Credit to Dubois. We know he's got power. I wonder if Dubois would have landed that on some of the top heavyweights in the division, they might have gone down. I'm not saying that Dubois would have won it, but they might not have been able to take the power that Dubois threw at him. So hats off to Joyce there.
Just thoughts. I'm going to be asking all the callers this. In terms of quit, do you think Dubois quit?
No, I don't, Coach Joe. And I'll be honest, I heard you two talking a minute ago. I'm really disappointed with the stick that Daniel's getting on social media. I think it's unfair for a young lad. These are the same people that pumped him up to be the next big thing in the future heavyweight star. And then the minute this happened, everyone said he's quit. And the reason I think he didn't quit is because although Daniel wouldn't have known the official scorecards, you've seen them himself, after the fight, Dubois was up on 2 cards and Joyce on 1. So he was definitely in the fight. If you speak to Joyce's fans, even they say it's either level or 1 up to Joyce, etc. So he wasn't in pain. I don't understand why he would quit. I just think that his eye was that bad, and that's where you got to give credit to Joyce. You mentioned Mark Hepburn with Denzel, the same thing. Some people said, Denzel won because Mark's eye, that's not fair. Well, Denzel did that to Mark's eye, just like Joe did to Daniel's eye. And I think the pain was that much. I believe it's a fractured orbital or something, which essentially means he's got a broken eye. When you're being punched by clean shots from someone weighing 18.5 stone, I think it was too much pain. And I'm not saying Daniel probably weighed up at the time to press the knee to save my career. I'm not sure he did that. I think probably was in too much pain. But that's probably unfair to say he quit, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you got Devon saying hello, and just want to get some predictions from you. Spence versus Garcia and Billy Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray. Can we just get some predictions from you, please?
Of course, yeah. So blessed again with another fantastic weekend of boxing. Yep. I'm really excited about the Spence Garcia card. I have Spence possibly before the car crash as my pound for pound.
Yep.
I had him ahead of Crawford, certainly in that division. I know there's lots of people that say we might not be the same since the car crash. We haven't seen him since the car crash, so I'm really intrigued to see if anything's going to be picked in. And on that note, I would expect Spence to win the fight. But Danny Garcia is a great fighter as well, and if Spence isn't 100% for whatever reason, Garcia could nick it. But if I would put money on it, I'd probably go with Spence.
Yeah. Okay. Billy Joe.
Martin Murray probably a step too far. But fan of Martin Murray, he's been around a long time. I think this is his 4th chance at the world title. I think Billy Joe, he's too slick. He's too crafty. His boxing skills win that. He's probably the fresher fighter as well. So I think that going back to what you just said about Danny Jacobs, maybe at 168, that both under Eddie Hearn with the zone, Danny Jacobs and Billy Joe with Matchroom, that fight probably gets made in the spring.
Yeah.
And then maybe the winner of that fight, which if that was Billy Joe against the Callum before an Alvarez, because that fight's looming as well.
No, perfect. Listen, John, thank you very much for your call. And
thank you, buddy.
We're going to move on to the next caller, but thank you again.
Cheers.
Cheers, thanks. Going out to 297, I think that's Uncle. Hello.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Not
your favorite Uncle here.
Yeah. Before we go.
Yeah. So I guess I don't really know what to say because it went the way I said it would.
Yeah.
So, unless you have specific questions for me.
You know what? I want to ask you, because you obviously picked Joyce. I want to get your full thoughts on the whole quit in the narrative around Dubois quitting. What was your thoughts?
Okay, look, let me say something about this. Because you're going to look, right? Let's remember something, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
This is not tiddly wings, yeah? This is boxing. This is a fight game, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Those of us in it, we signed up to this. And the morals of the fight game are not morals of normal civilians.
Yep.
So it's like a subject all time. The reason it's been criticized, and you need to take a step back, it's not really the fans or non-participants that are saying he quit. The people who are saying he quit are the boxers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, before people upset at what I'm saying, I want to give you an example of a fight that happened in the 80s when the ferocious John the Beast Mugabe from Uganda, the knockout artist, in a world title fight against Dwayne Thomas from the Crown Gym.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got thumped in the eye, and this ferocious, dangerous, destructive puncher turned his back and was complaining that he couldn't see, and the fight ended. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson was at ringside with other fighters, and Mike was kind of pissed off. You know, everybody says, look, and I remember, I'll never forget the quote. I said, yeah, you got from one eye, or the other eye is still open. You understand? So, the example, the reason I'm using that example is that we have to understand, it's almost as if the rules of boxing, what fighters understand. And I'm not condoning it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not condoning it, but that's the way a lot of fighters think. So a lot of them could not understand why he took a knee and stopped fighting. Now, we may say, oh, God, that's barbaric, whatever, but look, I've been around. It is what it is. For me, the bigger issue is why did this corner pull him out of the fight before that happened.
So, you know what? And I think you raised a good point there, and I don't want to hold on it too long. But I think one thing that's being clear though is the fighters that seem to be saying he quit seem to have a hypocritical opinion, because I don't want to leave it just on that level. But on one side, you know, we spoke about Mark Heffron, Tony Bellew with Joshua. It's like they pick and choose. So if the fight was natural, I don't think they'll be talking about quitting. I feel like because this fighter is a Frank Warren BT.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism, but you know what? It always happens. Have you noticed how Frank Warren was always having a go at Joshua? If someone's in a different promotional camp, they're having a go. I can give you examples of Frank Warren doing that to fighters in other camps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that happens. But you know what?
It's the game.
Don't forget, when this fight was first muted at the beginning of the year, I said this guy's making a mistake. This is the wrong fight at the wrong time. You know? And for me, there's an even bigger question mark. As in, you know, what really shows your true character. And what I honestly want is I want Dubois to go away, heal up, and then do some real soul searching and decide whether this game is for him. You understand? Because, you know, he's talented and everything. But I may be wrong. But is this a young man? Does he really love boxing? Or
we'll
is
see.
he someone who's doing it because he's good at it?
Yeah. So, Uncle, I want to move on though. Before we move on, I would like to get your thoughts on the Spence versus Garcia fight taking place this weekend.
Oh yes. Now you know these two guys are my favorite fighters, and you know I've been keeping in touch to see what's going on, and both of them are in fantastic shape. Look, there's some obviously some intangibles. Has Spence recovered and whatever. So what I'm looking for is the best version of both guys, and I think based on the best versions of both guys, to give anybody else. If it was anybody else apart from Errol Spence, the way Danny Garcia is, I would be predicting that Danny Garcia win. But because it's Errol Spence, I'm predicting Spence on points.
Okay.
And like I said last week, I think Terence Crawford's a great fighter, but I think both guys beat Terence Crawford.
Okay, cool. And last one, before we go, you called the Tyson versus Jones fight a draw, and you got that right as well. So another clap. But what was your take on that fight?
Just confess on that one. That wasn't premonition. It was, I had got it on good authority that if the guys saw the bell, it was going to be a draw, irrespective of who won or lost. And in fact, I also got it on good authority that nobody was allowed to lose or to be knocked out. So on that basis, I guess it was
a draw.
Easy to make a draw. So guys, keep up the good work. But before I do, I just want to say one thing. What happened in the Dubois Joyce fight? If you think about it, it was actually totally predictable. It really was. But unfortunately, what happened is the hype machine goes into overdrive.
Yeah, fair comment.
That's a great point. Uncle, quickly before you go, just really quickly, who have you got? Spence Garcia.
Oh, I told you. I said Spence on points.
Spence on points.
Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur. Who you got?
I do not know enough about Arthur, so I would be guessing if I made a prediction. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Okay.
Who have you got for that one?
I think it's a draw.
He's sitting on the fence. Listen, Uncle, we're going to have to move to the next caller, but I appreciate the support as always. Keep tuning in, and we look forward to your predictions from next week.
Cheers.
Going out to 985, Mr. Appiah. How you doing, sir?
Oh, yes.
Good evening, fellas.
Yes, we're good. You good?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
All good.
So what's on your mind, D?
Just wanted to basically, commend Joyce on a fantastic performance, really. As you know, you got my prediction last week. It was for Triple D to knock out Joyce after 4 rounds. I got it completely wrong, and really good performance by Joyce. I thought he done really well, to be fair. A good all-round performance. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Stamina, patience, everything.
really well. He did.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you, bro. But let me ask you this: what do you make of all the the boxers saying that Dubois quit?
You know what, right? It's easy to say when you're not in there. I mean, the man's eye was, he's in a lot of trouble. Me personally, I'm not going to say he quit. I'm not going to say that. I think, you know, he's getting constantly jabbed on that eye. Constantly, all night. I mean, what's a man meant to do? You know, and sometimes with me, I feel I've got my own opinion on it, which is I'm not going to even say he quit. It's unfortunate what happened. But most people, right, and I might get a bit of stick for this, they're not right in their head. Because if it was them in that situation, how would they feel? How would they feel? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This thing about people's eye sockets getting broken and all that, and then people are saying, he's quit.
Yeah.
Fucking eye socket's broken.
What else you want him to do?
What else do you want him to fucking do? I mean...
they want him to die. They want him to die.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. They're not right yet. But we'll see it anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
Daniel,
it's wrong. Yeah.
Daniel, talk to me though. What do you think of the Spence Garcia? I know you've got a nice prediction for this one. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna go for Spence. I'm gonna go for Errol Spence. Garcia. Whenever he comes up against, Garcia, I think it's highly rated. But whenever he comes up in big fights, he loses. I mean, he lost against Furman, didn't he? Yep. He lost against Cooper. He loses. I mean, so he's going to. I feel he'll lose again on Saturday, over the weekend. I feel he'll lose again. I'm going to go for Spence. I'm going for Spence on points.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. What do you make of Billy Joe Martin Murray? What do you think?
You know what? That's Billy Joe all day. Billy Joe all day. Like we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, we want to see Billy Joe in there with the top fighters at middleweight and super middleweight. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see. I think he beats Martin Murray on Saturday night. How do I think it wouldn't surprise me if it was a late stoppage even, to be fair. That wouldn't surprise me. But he'll win that fight. Yeah. But
I get you.
See Billy. I want to say that again.
No, go on, bro.
After this fight, I want to see Billy Joe in there with the big boys. I want to see him in there with the Canelos, the Smiths. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him in there with the top fighters. I know he's got the ability and the skills to be the very best, but I want to see it. Time's running out, you know.
Yeah,
no, makes sense.
Perfect.
Daniel,
we're going to move to the next caller. So appreciate that as always. Always the support. Always calling in. But yeah, take care and look forward to your calls next week.
Cheers, buddy.
Next week, fellas.
Cheers. Take care. Cheers.
Thanks.
So we're going out to 623. 623. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Who's calling?
It's Jamie calling.
Yes.
Hello, bro. How you doing?
I'm good.
What's on your mind? Talk to us, bro.
Can you, so, in regards to the Joyce and the Dubois situation, I feel Joyce, he had a game plan, and I feel like not many people could have done his game plan where he knew he was going to get hit. Many shots that other would get knocked out there.
I do feel that his job was just consistent. He did everyone thought he was doing his normal game plan, kind of just step forward, pressure him and get hit. I thought, because Joyce has been knocked out before back in the amateur, I think once, but obviously he's known for his chin. And I thought if he take too many shots early round, I thought he'd get knocked out. Or more later on, he'll just put it on Dubois when he gets tired.
Yeah.
And maybe finish the block. So it was always for me, it was a 50-50 fight from the beginning. In regards to if Dubois quit, I don't think he did. I think it was a lack of experience. He was overwhelmed. His coaches, the Peacock guys, they're a very good amateur team. But in regards to the pro game, I haven't seen those guys there yet. Yeah. But it's still a good team and there's a good gym. Obviously, everyone goes there. A lot of people train there. So it's kind of one of those things where I feel like as long as he learns from it, comes back. Because at the end of the day, if he held out a few more rounds, he would have won. But I don't think it's one of those things where he should be hard on himself because he never had the pro. An adult amateur career. He only did. He's a big guy. Obviously, he can knock out a lot of people. He's obviously very powerful. But I do feel like maybe he has to make a few adjustments. Look at what AJ's done. Look at Klitschko. See where he can adapt. Maybe change his team. I don't know. Maybe some more technical coaches will work on some footwork to be able to throw. Maybe where Joyce has got fast. Funny enough, Joyce people don't. Let's say he's slow, but he's got fast feet. When he was moving out the shots, and he did that in his pro debut as well. He used to move out the way a lot. When Ian Lewis was going to find they used to throw haymakers. He maybe could use his footwork maybe to cut him off when he needed to throw that shot. There's maybe adjustments you can make from this fight to avoid head movement, basic head movement, to avoid the jab. Maybe learning how to fight on the back foot. He's still young and he's still moldable, so he can still learn a lot and be more adaptable. And as you guys said earlier, maybe lose a bit of muscle mass. I think that's about it. Is there any that comes to that?
No, I get you, bro. No, that was a detailed analysis. You might as well come on the show, bro.
I was gonna say, you definitely got to be calling in more often, bro. We need more of that.
No, I hear that. Another question for you though, bro. I know this is your category. You like this division. What do you think of Spence Garcia? What's your prediction and why?
For me, it depends on Spence. So it depends on Spence, the condition that Spence is in. Because obviously, before his lifestyle with the childhood, and then also like he used to go out drinking a lot and so forth. Obviously what happened with the car accident. And it depends on what conditions he's been training. He's changed his life. Obviously, Garcia doesn't win big fights. Everyone. We know that, but he still has that left. He still has power on both hands, that left hook, obviously, and he's still obviously elite level fighter. I would say fringe. I still call him world class personally, but he's losing to the best. So it just depends on Spence because I'm a big Crawford fan. So, but you need to obviously everything's in all the welterweights in PBC. So it just all depends. It all depends on what's going to happen with his condition. Because I would love to see that fight with Crawford and Spence, but it all depends on obviously the politics and so forth. But I think it all depends on that. It's a 50-50 fight. I would not in maybe 2 years ago. I would have been Spence. I would have been now. It just depends on him.
Cool.
Depends on him. But I would say Spence. I'm going to say Spence.
Cool. We got that. Z, you got a question?
Yeah, basically, sorry guys, I just got cut off there momentarily. It's just the first time I'm using it, so I'm getting used to it.
No
sorry,
problem,
man. I got a question for you. Do you think that Spence fight? Do you think Errol Spence now is going to be the same fighter he once was? Obviously, mentally, boxing is a big mental game, So, do you think mentally he's still going to be the same fighter?
He and his coaches know right now where he is. I personally don't think they'll put him out there if he's not moving the same. Because obviously boxing, it says mental game and a game of inches. In his sparring, I'm guessing you see because the way he fights, I'm assuming he does hard sparring. And it's in those hard sparring, it depends how he is. So that car accident the car turned over. It was I'm assuming he hit his head. Yeah, he flew out the car, didn't he?
He flew out the car.
So like that's a horrible injury. So we have to see how he is as a person, really. But from what the fact he's still fighting and he's still going on, you can tell mentally he's a strong person. The fact he knows he seems inspiring and so forth, and training. He's doing it. So I think he should be, and I hope he is. I say that in the past I've seen boxers who have maybe they know they were injured and still coming to fights, and maybe shouldn't have been fighting and so forth and whatnot. But yeah, for a payday. But I hope and I think that he's ready and he's coming in.
Yeah.
100%.
No, nice. Listen, Jamie, we've got to move on to the next caller, but I appreciate your support as always.
Thank you, bro.
Look forward to hearing from you next week when we talk about the Spence Garcia. Thanks. Moving out to 783. 783, the floor is yours.
Bloody hell, bro. I'm in the queue for time today.
Hey, sorry, bro.
You're right.
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. What are you saying, bro? What are you telling us?
It's MK. Listen, what was I going to say?
We know, bro.
I said about Dubois and Joyce, and we were talking last week, and I got cut off.
Yeah. You want to run them through it again?
Yeah, but I just said, bro, everyone was kind of saying Joyce didn't have a chance, you get it? But Joyce, Dubois quit, and I don't know why everyone's making excuses for him. Just call a spade a spade. I mean, Dubois quit.
Whoa.
But we've been going.
I don't think.
Now, we're going to let you go. You go, bro.
Sorry, people are forgetting he was tired, you know?
Yeah.
He was tired. Forget about his eye. He was tired. He was expending his energy. He's in too much energy. And I just thought, bloody hell, I've got like 3-4 more rounds to go, bro. I had him winning, though, but
Same.
Joyce just nice and composed. The ball through the kitchen sink at him, and bro, he just didn't have no answers. That's what, when you look at people out here and they don't go, it's like, what happens then? Do you know what I mean? What can you box? When you go to the kitchen sink and it's not working, what can you go back to boxing? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he just didn't have that answer, bro, because it's just used to knocking people out.
Yeah.
Like, great, bro. Boachi was going through the same thing with Khalid with his eye. Boachi fought.
I mean, that's a great comparison. I'm going to let these guys give the question, but do you not think, though, literally, for me, looking at it, he had one eye, and Joyce is strong. Even if he quit, I think you not have to say, yes, he quit, but he also had no choice because he was fighting with one eye.
But Boachi had the same thing against Khalid, though.
Nah, that's different, bro. That's different.
No, different. That's different.
Understand, yeah? But this ain't football.
Yeah.
Dubois gonna come back. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to knock him when he's down. I still think it's a good fight. Everyone's gonna say, he quit, he's shit. You know what? Once you lose your shit, you know boxing nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
But, bro, he quit, bro. This is boxing, bro. Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti, the trilogy. Bro, this is war. You understand? What did you think was gonna happen? You're fighting a 6'7", 18, 19 strong guy. Bro, this is war. If you didn't know, now you're with it.
Yeah.
Bro, what do you think? What do you think was gonna happen before you're gonna freeze frame like Lord? Bro, come on, man. Maybe he was physically prepared, but he wasn't mentally prepared for what he went through, bro. Because he would have off quick.
I mean, yeah, I think we're definitely going to disagree to agree. I think Sam is self. I'll take his question for you. Spence versus Garcia. Give us your prediction on that one.
I think Spence is gonna clap him.
Okay, what is that, KO?
I think Spence is gonna punch him up.
All right. No, that's what we want to hear. Talk to us. Tell us more.
I feel like everyone's overplaying the accident, man. You're gonna be the same. Bro, he beat Mikey Garcia. He had a hard fight with Porter. He beat Porter. Bro, he's not struggling with Garcia. Garcia's got to knock him out. All right. And then
Yarde versus. This is another one that's under the radar. Yarde versus Arthur.
Yeah, late KO. 7th round, 8th round.
All right, Sam, you want to take over?
Yeah, bro. No, ultimately, I'm still shocked by you thinking Dubois quit. But obviously, bro, respect your opinion, respect you. You're my guy. But question now, though. It's about Joyce. Is Joyce ready for Usyk?
For Usyk?
Mm.
Yeah, I think you beat him in the 12 rounds. Right? They fought in WSB, innit? But that was 5 rounds. 5 rounds. Yeah, I mean, 5 rounds and 6 rounds, that's more than double the amount. I think Usyk could get him in 12.
All right.
I think Usyk could get him in 12.
Not,
All right.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
feeling it. And then Billy Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray.
Bro, to be honest with you, I don't even want to talk about that one because, bro, like, Billy Joe's one of the most talented boxers, if not the most talented boxer in the UK, yeah? And he just beats right bums, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Billy, like, come on, man. Martin Murray, bro, he's going for his 5th world title challenge, you know. The guy's 40 years old, bro. Soon to be a grandfather. I know it's COVID and that, but Billy, come on, man.
Nah.
Obviously, Billy Joe and Canelo, like, Billy's fighting he's fighting Martin Murray, bro.
Yeah.
The guy's lost, like, how many times, bro?
Yeah.
How did he even get another world title shot? How?
That's
How
it.
did he even get that?
We're gonna have to lay that question firmly at Eddie Hearn's door. Listen, MK, appreciate.
You know how this thing is, bro.
Exactly.
It's collusion,
Yeah.
isn't it? You'll probably get another one after this.
100%. But listen, MK, we're gonna have to move to the next caller. Appreciate you calling in as always. Love the comment,
bro.
and look forward to speaking to you once we see that Spence Garcia take place. Love, bro. All right. Take care. And then we're going out to 488. 488. The floor is yours. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Dave showing our boxing voice.
How you doing, Dave?
You okay?
Yeah,
Dave.
we're good. How you keeping, bro?
Good, man. Yeah, good, man. Yeah, what a weekend of boxing. Go straight into it. Sick of the trolls, if I'm being honest, with Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that he should quit and everything like that. I've seen some interviews with other people. Like, where is this all this hatred coming from? But first of all, respect to Joyce for ramming out that piston-like. He's done what people couldn't do. I mean, when I was getting asked about who's going to win, I said, he's a silver medalist. I can't make my mind up on this because it's too hard to call the 50-50 fight. It was disrespectful to think that Daniel Dubois would just completely blow him over. Completely disrespectul. On the other hand, now, the sort of abuse that this chap is getting Daniel Dubois, 23 years old, saying quit, he's awful, and some of the hatred that's coming about, I think it's unjust, to be fair.
Yeah, no. Sam, Z, what do you guys think?
No, Dave, you're speaking my language, mate. I just think everyone says all these fighters like to protect their perfect records and do all of that, and you know this. He actually put his record on the line. He said, "You know what? I need to find out myself about it. I need to prove it to myself and everyone." And he steps up to the plate to believe. Don't get me wrong. In the build-up, Dubois was very disrespectful. I do not condone talking about someone's mother in the fashion that he did. But I guess about the fight hype and selling everything. And, you know, he did a good job. His personality came out. Really, I think he really believed he'd win. And he was, don't get twisted, in the fight, all these people are saying, yeah, Joyce done him, but it was very close. Everyone was saying, round 2 still, I can't tell. Round 3, round 4, I couldn't tell. It was only when he had that injury, when he got the eye, when he sustained the lump on the eye and the shot in the eye, that questions started getting asked. And that's what I think anyway. I just feel that is an experience, a lesson for him. He's never been in that situation before. This is a guy that's steamrolled through people and he thought he could do the same. Now he knows he needs to adjust.
100%. And, you know, to his credit as well. I mean, I scored it as I was watching it, and I actually had Joyce up going in before the stoppage by 1 point, so it was really close. And I think round 3 was a swing round. He could have scored it either way. So it's very, very close on the scorecard. But, you know, Anthony Gogo's done a really good interview today on IFL, and he's been through these sort of pressures and everything like that, the injuries. So I think if anyone's qualified to make an opinion on this, it's him. I mean, I put something up on my Insta a few sort of days ago, just saying, look, the guy's 23. Joyce did absolutely brilliantly, and yes, Usyk, please, let's get that fight on. That'll be amazing. Hats off to both teams. But to write off, you know, someone who's gonna I mean, you've got what, 12 years on Joe Joyce, hasn't he? To be fair, so I'd like to think that in a few years' time he'll be at that level again, challenging for world titles. But what's he going to do? Like people saying, quit. What's he going to do? Be a bricklayer? You're going to work in a, coach a football team now. Like, you can't just say. It's just the abuse of it. It can't be fair. It's unjust, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know?
boxing.
The trolling needs to stop in this sport because it's so fickle. It's the fickleness that puts people down. You know, we've had it with Kell Brook. We've had it with when Lomachenko, even though you picked that one, Sam, but we've had it with Lomachenko last year, awful, blah, blah, blah. But people now, it's so fickle, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just think, like, to be honest, there's two things now he can do from this point on. Obviously, he can't change what's happened now. It's either he goes back to the drawing board and learns on what he needs to do because his fundamentals are lacking, isn't it? There's either two things. He could either just mentally, you know, just deteriorate like Wilder, you know, someone that's not going to come back, or he can just turn his whole career back around, you know, by going to the drawing board and learning from his mistakes. That's what I think personally. Obviously, he's got time, but you know, he's got to make use of that time, you know. Otherwise, he's just going to be the same fighter.
The main thing is, look, he's a young heavyweight. He hasn't probably reached his prime. There's probably been a lot of pressures on him in terms of, you know, he's knocking everybody out, and then the resume. No, it wasn't as good as Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce has got a fantastic pedigree. Fight one, Ian Lewison. I remember going to that with your coach when we were sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything like that, and you know, it was a great event, and you know, Lenroy Thomas and beating Usyk at the WBSS. So fantastic pedigree. Daniel Dubois hasn't had that. He's turned pro. But one thing he has got, again, is the main fundamental thing, which is age and a very good team around him. You know, I've spent time at the Peacock with my colleague John, and spent time, you know, with Martin and stuff, and they're a solid unit, to be fair. I mean, if you do get a chance to have a look at some of the comments that Denzel Bentley's been making on Twitter regarding the DI, and I think they're bonded well in terms of showing each other support, to be fair. So it's a nice unit over there. Yeah, very good unit. But hats off to Joe Joyce. Fantastic job, and let's make sure Daniel comes back, I suppose, and he's fighting fit again.
No, definitely. And yeah, we did show some of those tweets earlier. And before we let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on the fights this weekend. So I'm going to start off Billy Joe versus Martin Murray.
Boxer, he outclassed Martin Murray, and it should be, I'm not going to say it's a walk in the park. No fighters nowadays, is there? But I think he should cruise and get the well-deserved victory. Maybe he'll take out the frustrations of not, you know, of not the Canelo fight and the Callum Smith fight that never happened. Unfortunately, that's the fight we want to see him in, so he can showcase his skill. But I think he breezes past it. To be fair, should be a victory for him. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Dave? What do you make of Yarde this week? Yarde and Arthur.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Lyndon Hall. I think Hall takes it. To be fair, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I just think that, and again, it's one of them fights where Yarde's had more fights on paper. They've got the common opponent, haven't they, of Dex Spellman? Is that right? Or?
Yeah, that's correct. In the summer.
And Spilker.
Yeah, they've got the common opponent. I was speaking to Shakan today, and he's like, I can't even call it. And I said, it's one of those tough ones, isn't it, to be fair? But if gun to my head, I had my last pound on it, I'd probably say, and I want to be proven wrong, to be fair. I don't mind who wins as long as we get a good fight for the fans.
Yeah.
And I think Arthur Lyndon Hall takes it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Or Lyndon Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wins. But the main fight between Garcia and Spence, I'm going to be backing Danny on this one.
Okay.
I think Danny Garcia wins. Yeah. And I might be very, very wrong in this, and that's fine. You know, it's a sport full of opinions and stuff.
Exactly.
And I just think that the crash may have taken something out. And again,
if I'm wrong, then fair dues. You know, again, just want to see a good fight. But I think that, you know, flying out of the car and stuff, it's a big fight. Danny Garcia he still carries power. He's not no bomb. He's not a chump. You know, he's lost to two decent fighters. I mean, was Keith Thurman the same after his motor accident? You know, these are things that I consider. So I think Danny Garcia wins.
Okay. No, appreciate that. We're gonna move on because we're coming up to that time. But thank you as always for calling in and showing your support, and hope to hear from you next week when the fight's done.
Yeah, no problem, guys. You keep up the good work and catch up with you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Cheers. Take care. Yeah, so that's a good one. I think that was hearing from Dave, his first one to pick Garcia. So guys, before we move on, I want to get our predictions. So I'm just going to quickly run through them, and then I'm going to come to you. I'm going to start with you, Sam, and then Zane, and then I'll give my pick. So Spence versus Garcia. What are we saying?
Do you know what? I'm going Spence, man. I'm tired of being alternative. I do believe in Spence. I believe in everything he's about. I like the kind of fighter he is. I just think he's the man. So,
all right. Zane?
You know, looking at both guys' resume, you know, they've fought similar opponents, and you know, I just feel that Danny Garcia, he's very talented, he's game, but in terms of boxing skill, I've seen with the likes of Mauricio Herrera, Lamont Peterson, and he had trouble with them guys, you know. And Spencer's a fighter that can box as well, you know. We've seen him mix it up again with Mikey Garcia, and he's proven to us that he's got more than just power. So in terms of that, you know, I hope nothing's gone wrong with him mentally from that car crash, but I'm picking Errol Spence as well, you know.
All right. So moving on to the next one. I'm sorry, I'll add mine. I'm also picking Spence, and I think it will be a point decision. But this fight is taking place tomorrow. MTK contract.
Big fight.
Let's make it brief though. Darko versus Eubank. Sam, I'll start with you again.
Look, I know both men quite well. Seen them both really talented. Whatever happens, they're going to go on about their careers and get to the heights. But for me, I just like the interview that Danny gave, man. Speaking to us a few weeks ago, it's going to drop soon. Like, he is hungry, he is focused, he is disciplined, and I generally just feel like he wants more. I feel like he's been through more.
Zane?
Bro, this is a tough one to predict, you know, because obviously both of them can box, both of them, you know, can bang as well. It's just going to come down to who wants it more, I believe. And, bro, it's too hard for me to predict, man. I mean, both of these guys, they fought the same opponent in Martin McDonough. Obviously, Martin McDonough beat Eubank in the amateurs, and he came back to avenge that loss. And he knocked him out, which was more impressive as well. But at the same time, you know, I don't like to look into fights too much. You know, they both won the fight. So, bro, I'm really on the fence with this one. Obviously, I've got to pick one, isn't it? So
I've got to pick one now.
I'm going to go with Harlem Eubank, you know.
All right, so then we have a
okay, Harlem, Brightonian boy. Okay.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think you both made great points. I'm just going to summarize. I think the energy of Darko should be able to see him through, even though Eubank is also a high output puncher. I think that Darko should just be able to see this one through. But I've got a lot of love and respect for both guys. Moving on, this probably has gone definitely under the radar. Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yarde. Two fighters, 29. A lot of similarities to the fight that just went past last weekend in terms of Lyndon Arthur having that amateur pedigree and Yarde just coming straight out and bulldozing. Guys, who wins? Zane, I'm going to start with you, then go to Sam.
I'm going with Anthony Yarde. The reason why, though, guys, obviously Lyndon Arthur can box, you know, and at the end of the day, this is boxing, isn't it? So you know, the better boxer will turn out, the better on the night. But I just feel that, you know, Anthony Yarde, he's relentless, man, and his stamina and conditioning is something else, man. I don't know if Lyndon Arthur can handle that pressure for 12 rounds. I mean, I feel that Anthony Yarde's a better fighter now than he was before the Kovalev fight, you know. But I feel that a world level experience will give him the edge. But at the same time, you don't know, man, because Lyndon Arthur's a better boxer, you know. I just feel that he can box better off the back foot. But the Dex Spellman fight, that said a lot about both guys, you know. And I feel that, you know, Dex Spellman was able to, you know, have his moments in the Lyndon Arthur fight. Not as much, but he still had a bit of success, you know. But I feel Yarde's going to take over in the late rounds, and I feel breaking down.
And Sam?
Look, tremendous talent, knows how to fight, got the looks, got everything about him, really good brand behind him. Lyndon Arthur as well. Look, he's got an amateur pedigree. He knows how to box. He's from, you know, he's from Moss side, I think, up around the Manchester way. He's a tough guy, and I ultimately think these guys' styles are going to gel, and it's going to be similar to the Joyce kind of the in the sense that we're not going to know which round to call, and that's why I said it could be a draw. Please don't be surprised if this is a draw. It's disappointing, but I do think it's a draw because I think they're both at the same level. They're both at similar levels, and they're all going to try and put it on the line. So I just think it's going to be a draw. They both have punch power, but ultimately, I really strongly and firmly believe it will be a draw.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually picking Lyndon Arthur. I just think he's got something different in his arsenal. I think that I'm hoping. I like both guys. I'm feeling like he might be able to keep Yarde at range. You know, Lyndon Arthur is a seasoned boxer in terms of the amateur experience. I think he understands boxing, and I just think he might be able to have that element of surprise. You know, if he's able to land a few big punches early, then Yarde, you know, apart from Kovalev, he's not really been in a scrap. So as much as he has improved since Kovalev, you know, outside of that, he's still not had a fight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. And obviously Yarde's been a bit inactive. You know, he had the summer fight, but yeah, he hasn't been as active as Arthur, you would say. So moving on though, and that's to the last one. Billy Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray. How are we seeing that one, guys?
Sam, do you want to start?
Yeah, come on. Billy Joe Saunders is going to get a points win. He's not. I don't be surprised if he doesn't perform well, you know. It's a shit performance from him. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I think
I agree. I agree. You know, but, you know, I agree. You know, Billy Joe Saunders, I think he's catching Murray at the right time. And like one of the viewers said, I want to see Billy Joe in there with someone, you know, decent, because, you know, his coming on. You know what I mean?
I guarantee you, though, Eddie's not going to say anything. Well, not Eddie as such. He'll tell you that. I guarantee you, people aren't going to comment on his poor performance. I guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm in agreement with you guys. I think, you know what, I think it would be good if Martin Murray was to finally win this world title at this stage. Can't see it happening. I think Billy Joe, he is a good fighter. I think he'll have enough in the tank just to kind of stay evasive and frustrate Martin Murray. But yeah, I think will it be an impressive win? I think it needs to be. And even if it is, like I said about Jacob last week, unless he makes a big fight next, a real risk next, then his career is just wasting away. So listen, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I really appreciate you guys giving your comments and your feedback. Zane, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully to have you on. No, 100%. Hopefully to have you on more. Do some, and you can call in. I'll make sure you send those details. Before we go, do you want to just shout out your social media so people can follow you? Let them know where to find you.
Yeah, my Instagram is Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage. I know it's a long name, but hashtag ZHBD. That's for short. You can follow me on YouTube at Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage, and yeah, on Facebook at Zane Musa. I just want to thank you lot, you know, because you know this was something I really enjoyed. You know, you guys love what you're doing as well. I'm definitely going to be calling in, and you know, I'm definitely looking forward to having me on again, man. Appreciate that.
100%, bro. Sam, before we go, do you want to do the socials?
Yes, please. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Raps on TV, fan base platform. Everyone, no opinion's a wrong opinion, besides saying the box. But literally, bro. Raps on TV. My Instagram is WOTV, Rats on TV page. But yeah, man, just appreciate everyone calling in, appreciate all the talks, and boxing is officially back. But next week, I'm telling you now, we got to talk about the zone being 199. Crazy.
Let me show you, man, just so you know I'm not playing, bro. I got that. I got that, man. I got that app. I don't know if you can see it, actually. Download it.
I see it.
Bro. I went into the app store. I was like, right, I'm having some of that. So yeah, I'm lining up. It's available for all UK platforms now as we speak. Get to watch the Ak and Barak show. That's all my guys. So yeah, it's been the future is here, as they say. But guys, once again, it's been a pleasure. We've overrun a little bit, but it's been a big weekend in terms of topics. So please remember to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Twitter. And we're out. Peace, guys.
Yes.